Samrambam Shankarya Sharya Madhyamam Azmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvara Gurate Meti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtiya Namaha Sarva Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Tatiguru Pranatosh Maham Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the verse, one thing I want to mention in reference to what Dave asked me, the thing about when this distortion or this translation of experiential bliss from limitless knowledge. You know, one is limited knowledge and then experiential bliss. So this has been going on forever. You know, this thing between knowledge and experience, it has been going on from the very beginning of the Vedas. Okay? So as far as the translation into the English language, there could have been, from those days of Vivekananda when he came to the West, 130, 140 years ago, he presented what is called modern Vedanta, you know, with a lot of experiential connotations to it, and Shimaya also did similar job. They have their own reasons to do that, but this is something that has been going on forever, this debate between the knowledge and experience. So it could be that in the English language it became more pronounced from this, since he went to the West to introduce Vedanta. He was the pioneer bringing Vedanta in English language to the West. Because 300 years ago would have been very hard to go by ship, by boat, all the way to Europe.
Maybe it's not that important, but it doesn't seem like the translation to English is a very important component. There's a Sanskrit word, and it's either Ananda or it's Ananta.
The Sanskrit word is Anantan, but there is a Sanskrit word called Ananda as well. Ananda means bliss, ecstasy. Ananta means limitlessness. So
The point though is that there should be scriptures that say one word or the other, and that shouldn't be related to English.
Yeah, I know. But as I'm trying to say, these two different ways to present Vedanta have been going on since forever. You understand? Even Vedanta is a family of philosophy, you know, and even within the Vedanta there are some, you know, when you see the line of the Ramakrishna and recently Atmananda and so on. So you see that they come. No, the guy who came out after Ramakrishna, I forgot his name, is Atmananda? No. Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, yeah, it was a very Vivekananda, and he gave birth into the West of this modern Vedanta. So it.
Is that different from traditional Vedanta?
It's because traditional Vedanta is very, very strict with its language and trying to avoid any possible connotation, implied meaning that may give the impression to the student, to a disciple, that there is something he can do to experience or become the self. So the traditional Vedanta sticks to the language that implies that you are that which is already accomplished. There is nothing you can do to gain or become it because you are that. And then the language we use is the language of knowledge and identity, as opposed to the language of experience, you know, and action. So it's a question of present it with a certain language. Some people present it more with the experiential language, and of course the experiential language has more appeal. You understand? That's all there is to it. It has always been there. Even within our family of different Vedanta exposers. It's not much relevant, but I want just to add that to you. The fourth feature. So there is so much beautiful stuff coming here. And the good news is that by Monday next week, the next session, we're going to be going already into the chapter 4. And then the chapter 5, we are making progress. We got stuck on chapter 1 for a long time. 1/3 of the book was there on chapter 1. And then if Ishvara willing, I come back next year, I'm going to use a kind of a week or 10 days to finish the 3rd part, which is all about the bliss, the bliss aspect of the self, which is very, very juicy. So, is existence aware? Verse 35, because existence is all pervasive, the self is not limited by space. So space is all pervasive. Once Maya comes and produces Mithya, and then space is the fundamental element pervading all the others. Existence, consciousness is all pervasive. The self is not limited by space, it pervades space. Because it is eternal, it's not limited by time. So it's not limited by space, it's not limited by time, it's not limited by properties as we have established before. Because it is the nature of everything, it's non-dual. So it's not limited by objects and their properties. Right? In every way, the self is limitless. So existence, consciousness enjoys a threefold limitlessness. So there are three aspects of it, limitlessness. One is there is no place it is not. Existence, consciousness is all pervasive. It's all over. There is no place, not even when the object is not appearing. It's not superimposed. 2, existence is never not aware. So existence and awareness is one and the same principle. Existence, it's never not awareness. And 3, it's one without a second. There is nothing other than itself. There is nothing other than it. So the 3 aspects of limitlessness. The form of a substance does not limit the substance. When we look at the ring gold, is the gold limited by its name and form? No, not at all. The gold is absolutely free from its name and forms. The names and forms enjoy a dependent existence. They depend on their substance, which is gold. The gold ring can be melted to become a different ornament. So the substance, in this case, is a metaphor or analogy to the fundamental nature of something. Okay? If existence would be limitless, it cannot be anything but awareness, consciousness, because awareness is limitless. Verse 36, because space, time, and objects in them are temporary appearance. They appear, they stay for some time, and then they go and get decomposed, destructed. Because space, time, and objects in them are temporary appearance caused by Maya, they do not limit consciousness. Consciousness is the background. The universe appears, modifies from a moment to another, and the screen of consciousness, the knowledge of the universe remains unaffected. Okay, it never is affected or touched by any superimposition on itself. So there is another point here. The second point is one order reality is not in conflict with another order reality. So space belongs to Mithya, a different order of reality. Consciousness belongs to Satya. So one order reality is not in conflict with another order of reality. They can coexist without any paradox or conflict. Space, time, and objects do not limit awareness, because awareness enjoys Satya, order of reality, and the elements they enjoy a Mithya, order of reality. Objects are apparently real. A dream elephant, I have a very small room, and then in this small room, and then I dream a huge elephant. And the elephant is moving all the time. So it's a common sense to imagine that he's going to smash a lot of objects in the room, including myself, right? I'm sleeping in a small room, a bed, and this huge elephant. And the elephant is suffering of Raja's attack. He wants to move. He wants to get going with some action. So we would imagine that everything, all the objects in the room are going to be smashed. But no. The elephant, what is the elephant? The elephant cannot break or destroy or smash the objects in the room, because the elephant is existing on a different order of reality. So in this order of reality here, there is just the bed and the sleeper and the dreamer. The ring does not limit the god, and so on. So we are into the topic of the four features of consciousness. So there are these three features of consciousness. And the fourth feature of consciousness, the fourth state of consciousness, human consciousness or reflect consciousness in Mithya. One is the awaker, and the other is the dreamer, and the other is the sleeper. The fourth factor, this again, here Ramji has used a word that most probably Paramarthananda has used as well, because Paramarthananda is very good in correcting the language and keep it, without giving misleading notions to interpretations. It's written, the fourth feature of consciousness. In a lot of other texts you're going to see the fourth state. They present as Turiya, the fourth state. So you have the state of consciousness as the Vishwa, and then the Taijasa, the dreamer, and then the Prajna, the sleeper. And then many scriptures present the fourth state of consciousness as Turiya. They present as if consciousness possesses another state called no mind, Turiya, absolute, okay, Samadhi, and so on. So in our language we correct and we call the fourth factor or the fourth feature. So the fourth feature, the fourth factor is not a state, but it is the substratum of all those three experience entities, the Prajna, the Taijasa, and the Vishwa. The substratum is the screen of consciousness in which those three experience knowing entities appear and disappear and become the medium for knowledge and experience. The fourth state is not a state, The fourth state is the fourth factor, which is our fundamental, essential, free nature as consciousness. The fourth feature is that which cannot be negated, since it is self-evident as the illuminator of all experience. Maya, verse 37 to 42. This is very nice. The Creator, there is a statement from Swami Paramarthananda that says, Ishvara, the Creator, the Lord, is a convex distortion in the reflected mirror of my own mind. So when I reflect on Maya, as a convex mirror, I reflect, Maya reflecting this macrocosm reflecting medium. It produces, like a convex mirror, it produces Ishvara, a convex reflection of myself on my Maya, macrocosmic reflecting medium, and it is convex to produce the universe. Have you ever seen a convex mirror that does distort everything like that? And on the other hand, a concave distortion of my own mind, reflect mind, is what we call the jiva. Let me just say in his own words. And the jiva creature is a concave distortion in my reflect mind. The reflect outer body of the jivas, the micro reflecting medium. We have the macro, Maya. Macro is the macro reflecting medium. And then we have the micro reflecting medium, which are the subtle bodies of the jivas. So, and the jiva creature is a concave distortion in my reflected mind. They are apparently real. I am reality itself. This concave distortion produces the I. Concave produces the jiva, the I thought. I, the experiencer. The micro and the macro reflection. Very nice metaphor. 37. The self, which is existence, consciousness, and limitlessness, is reality. Its appearance as the creator of the universe, commonly known as Ishvara, the Lord, and the appearance of the jiva, the individual jiva, are both superimpositions caused by collective and individual ignorance, avidya. So avidya is a byproduct of Maya, associated with too much rajas, and produce this phenomenon called avidya, which affects all the jivas. The jivas superimpose, reality to all the objects of mithya, which means the creator, jiva, and the creation. Jiva, Ishvara, jiva, and jagat are not real. Okay? They are superimpositions caused by avidya, which operates individually and collectively. When everybody is misapprehending reality, it produces a collective phenomenon that feeds itself, and it becomes a collective misapprehension of reality that we keep passing on to one another, generations after generations. The creator of the world and the individual and the world itself, they are not really real, they are apparently real. When consciousness reflects in Maya and consciousness reflect in the Jiva Sattva body, it creates the Word, Jivas, and Ishvara. Verse 38, Ishvara controls every existent object by the powers of its own Maya. That's very interesting because we have already looked into that. Maya, when somehow it reflects consciousness on one part, one aspect of itself which possess more sattva, it creates Ishvara. And then we say Maya produces Ishvara, Jiva and Jagat. But Ishvara controls every existing object by the powers of Maya. So later on, once Ishvara is created, Ishvara controls Maya to govern this universe, We saw through all its rajas, tamas and sattva, it builds, it assembles all knowledge and all the elements, all laws, and then governs the entire universe. Ishvara controls every existent object by the powers of its Maya, informing all things with beingness. I'm putting an S, informing. Informing is a beautiful word here. It's informing, it is giving knowledge, consciousness to all beings, enlivening all beings, infusing all beings, all objects with existence. Beautiful. Informing all things with being, isness, consciousness, existence. And that's so from the bliss sheet on down to the physical body and the entire field called the universe. It infuses everything, the entire universe, with its own conscious existence. Very beautiful verse. Maya's, the revealing power, tamas, called tamas, projecting rajas and revealing sattva powers, bring about the harmonious and consistent behavior of all things in the creation. So it's by the power of these three basic energies, principles. One projects the universe, one animates the universe, another conceals the universe. By these powers, all the laws are created, and every being is going to behave according to its nature. Okay? The behavior of all objects are controlled by pure knowledge power, by with the aid of the three energies and so on. If a conscious principle did not control nature, the nature, properties and functions of objects, purposeful work would not be possible. So if a conscious, intelligent knowledge principle would not be behind everything, making this universe follow certain laws, rules, in total harmony with everything. If there were no such things, purposeful work would not be possible. The harmony of the universe would not be possible. And we know by observation and experience that this universe is perfectly ordered. It follows certain laws. It's an ordered universe. Otherwise, we would never be able to count on certain laws, and so that the field of action would be stable. We may come out in the morning and then I put sugar in my coffee, and then today the nature of sugar changed and it became salt. and then the gravity, instead of pulling the bodies down to a physical organism, now it expels into space everything. So everything, if there is, those laws are not controlling and governing, if we don't really understand that it's intelligent designed, and if we don't really agree, nobody's going to go out to do some work, because the things that change, there is no meaning. I mean, it makes no sense to do something if everything is changing from one moment to another. If meteor is natures of its own objects are changing from one moment to another. Verse 39. Where were the particular attributes of objects not determined by this power, consciousness, existence? Were the particular attributes of all objects not determined by this power, there would be chaos in the world. Who controls the world? Ishvara. And by the means of which power? Maya. But Maya depends on consciousness, existence. So fundamentally, there will be only chaos if this power which produced Maya, Ishvara, would not be there. For there would be no way to distinguish the properties of one object from another. So everything would be like total chaos. The fire would begin to freeze us, and then the sun would decide, no, I'm not going to shine my light this morning. Boom. And then our life, our planet, and the life in the planet would go kaput, if all and everything would not follow this ordered, intelligent design of creation. And life would be grind to a halt. Life would be impossible. So this is for, if we still have any doubts about Ishvara as this pure knowledge, intelligence, governing, and managing everything, and doing all the things in the micro as well. The macro and the micro. And the micro is doing all these things to us, shining our mind and the pranas and the physical level and so on. Verse 40, this power appears to be conscious because it is associated with the self. So Maya Ishvara, Ishvara the Lord. We say he is the Lord, but on the other hand we say, but it's not really real. It appears to be real, it appears to be conscious because it's associated with the self. It's associated with I, my fundamental, essential, true nature. This power appears to be conscious because it is associated with I, the self, limitless awareness, existence. Because of its association with Maya, awareness becomes omniscient. So awareness becomes the knower. Who is the knower? It's awareness associated with Maya Ishvara. Ishvara is the omniscient, the all-knowing. Okay, it's pure knowledge, and all knowledge is contained in Ishvara, Sattva. Okay, so this principle, limitless awareness, because of its association with Maya, becomes Ishvara, the omniscient, the all-knowing. So there is a note here, the omniscience of the self is different from the omniscience of Ishvara. Ishvara knows itself and the creation, but the self only knows itself. That is so nice, huh? It somehow it sheds more light into this subtle distinction. So the knowledge that Ishvara enjoys is different from the knowledge of consciousness. Consciousness is knowledge because knowledge, its nature, it's made of pure knowledge, consciousness, existence. So the omniscience, knowledge of Paramatma, the self, is different from the omniscience, knowledge of Ishvara, the Lord. Ishvara knows itself, the Lord, the giver, the deliverer, the destroyer, the one who sustains the world, and so on. Ishvara knows itself and knows all the knowledge of the creation, knows everything because it's all about, all is contained in Him. Ishvara is the reflection of pure consciousness on Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, which is Sattva Guna. Maya appearing as Sattva, not Sattva Guna. Sattva creates Ishvara. It's reflected consciousness, but it's the mirror, the reflecting medium called Sattva Pradhana Prakriti. This reflecting medium is so pure that it produces pure knowledge and intelligence. So Ishvara, although not really real, but it's still a sort of RC, reflect consciousness. But it's a pure reflection of the self. It knows itself and it knows all the knowledge which somehow unfolds as the universe. So all knowledge is contained in Ishvara, the Lord of the universe. So Ishvara knows itself and the creation, but Paramatma, the self, only knows itself. It's just self-knowing. It requires Ishvara to know everything about Mithya. Without Ishvara, Mithya does not come into the equation, into place. With Misha, it needs Ishvara, then Ishvara becomes all knowledge of Mithya. And then it comes to say, although Ishvara seems to be more powerful than Paramatma, because Ishvara knows itself and everything in Mithya, we come back and say, don't mistake Ishvara to be a higher principle than Paramatma. Paramatma is free of objects. However, Ishvara is not superior to Paramatma, only its knowledge of objects. Why? Because Ishvara depends on Paramatma to know, it's enjoying a dependent existence. Ishvara is not superior to the Paramatma, owing to its knowledge of objects. So, I can know things that Paramatma does not know. I'm not superior because I depend on Paramatma. I own my knowledge to Paramatma. I can only know due to pure, limitless knowledge, consciousness, existence. Without Paramatma, Ishvara is non-existent. Therefore, Ishvara enjoys a dependable existence. Therefore, Ishvara is not absolutely real. It is a dependent principle. Verse 41. The limitless self is called an individual when it's associated with the five sheaths, just as a man is called a father when in relation to his son, And just as a man is called a grandfather when in relation to its grandchildren, no? As a man is neither a father, a husband, a grandfather, or a son, when it's considered apart from its associations with some relatives. Likewise, the self is neither Ishvara, Maya, Jiva, and the field, when it's seen as non-associate to Maya and the five sheets. So the self is free of any effects of disappearance associations with Maya, which produce Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat. And then, of course, we can break the five sheets and many other different aspects of human experience. Verse 43. The one jiva who knows awareness as it is becomes awareness. So the jiva who is sure, who has a doubt-free knowledge as I am awareness, is said to become awareness. Awareness is not born, so there is no rebirth or death for the one who knows I am awareness. One who knows his or her nature to be only conscious existence, knowledge, awareness. The one who knows awareness as it is becomes awareness. So of course becoming does not really gives becomes, it can be used to be misinterpreted, because you see the limitation of language becomes, and then a lot of people say, okay, a change must take place here so that I become something else, you know, and then the milk is not happy with its status of milk. He says, I want to become cheese or curd. So he wants to do something, he's going to do some action, become cheese. So what is the problem now? Now the milk became cheese and you cannot see the milk anymore in the cheese. Okay? So consciousness does not become the universe. The universe is just a projection, superimposition. If consciousness existence would become the universe, and then it would find itself in the same position of the cheese, the milk disappeared. There is no trace of the milk here, and I cannot reverse my status of a cheese back into milk. It's impossible. But no, consciousness does not change or become the world, Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat. It simply appears due to the superimposition caused by Maya. But Maya and the superimposition of Jiva, Ishvara, and Jagat does not affect, contradict, modifies, or obstruct my nature as consciousness, because there is only me here and a superimposition, a small projection appearing, you know. So we're talking again about two orders of reality. There is no contradiction. So the self that we all are do not need to become anything, because we are it. We just have to remove the idea that we are the projection superimposed on my conscious, limitless existence, the illuminator. Becomes is a word that needs to be corrected again and again. Otherwise, there is so much already unconscious tendencies in our minds for action experience, as if we can really, we need to merge, we need to travel, we need to be transferred to the absolute, we need to transcend. There is all this action, movement, experience, notions in our subconscious mind. Therefore, every time we use these words, we need to put it between quote and quote, and we need to immediately resolve this misleading possible interpretation. This word becomes means that the jiva finally owns its limitless, free nature as the substratum, as the screen on which this projection occurs. The jiva becomes means the jiva owns, understands, and owns and retains the knowledge of its limitless knowledge and limitless nature, all pervasive nature. This is called freedom. Okay? Let's go quickly through this summary. It spoke about the 5 koshas as if the koshas, in this last section, as if the koshas conceal or hide the self. But we have already determined by pure analysis of our own experience that there is no question of concealing or hiding. The self is always available as the conscious witnessing principle on which all these 5 levels of experience, called the 5 koshas, occur. The self is not hidden by those experiences. The self is never hidden by any experience. Okay? It's always available. It's always free, unaffected, available. To say, I am aware of my body, mind, condition, self means that the self is present and experienced and as the I. Oh, I am aware of this, I am aware of that, I am aware of my body, my mind, my moods, my feelings, my thoughts. It means that the self is always there. Otherwise there will be nobody saying I this, I this, I that. So it means that the self is always present and experienced as the I. This I. The I that is the most used word by every human being. Experience is one, but it consists of 2 parts, consciousness and an object. Okay? The thought, it's ever present, it's hidden because all one's attentions go into the objects appearing in it. We have covered that extensively. If you see an object, for example, you are seeing the object and we discount me, the life, the light, the illuminator, the knower, and so on. 2 ways to negate the koshas. A little bit down in the same paragraph. 2 ways to negate the sheath. There is one approach with the experiential. We negate all these levels of experience by experientially, by negating the external world. But how can I negate the external world? If my sense organs are naturally and spontaneously connecting with its respective objects. So there is not really a way to negate the world experientially. But there are 2 states of mind that allow us to negate the world. We can negate the world by deep sleep. When you go into deep sleep, there is no world. And there is a sense of no world, no problems. No world, no problems. And there is another state that allows us experientially negate the world, which is by Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So if there is no subject and object duality, so there is no duality, there is no experience, there is no problem. So we have the option to negate the world experientially by the means of deep sleep and samadhi. Let's look. What is it? However, unless I'm conscious, I cannot say that there are no objects. So, the dualistic approach to negate the world is based on the incorrect assumption that the self and the world, they exist, they inhabit the same order of reality. The knower and the world of objects, they don't. Therefore, it's believed that the presence of one means the absence of the other. So we are touching that earlier today in relation to my conversation with Anutosh. So the presence of a thought does not negate the seer of the thought. The presence of the world does not cancel the illuminator of the world. Why? Because they belong to two orders of reality. The other way to negate the conscious, or to negate means to see that all these misidentifications with my different levels of experience, they are erroneous misidentification. So if you call misidentification, it's an erroneous identification. The other way to understand it is by following the logic. In other words, by inquiring, doing my inquiring, guided by the logic as presented by the teachings of Vedanta, the Upanishads. If we follow the inquiry, as presented by the scriptures, our texts, we will understand that the five koshas sheets, although they can be experienced, they are not real. When we say we negate the sheets, it's not that we make them unexperiencable. It's just that we understand that although experience will carry on, we know that they are not really real. Okay? It's just a superimposition that I, the illuminator of all experience, am always ever free. This is the only freedom there is. We cannot really control the field. Even if I'm good with Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and then comes an insect and bites me on my cheek, and then I have no control. The insect belongs to Ishvara, Or if I'm enjoying a good sleep, and then the neighbors start doing a loud party and pulls me out. What did you say? Okay, it's going to end now, just a moment. So the other way is to follow the logic of Vedanta, do our self-inquiry, and clearly gain this understanding that all experience belongs to Mithya, and the only reality is Satya. We negate the reality to all experience. Okay? The world is still there, experience is still there. If the world was not there, you could say that it had been negated. So, but no. Let me read the full sentence, otherwise I make. Now it is referring to samadhi, when you come out of samadhi. But Vedanta negates the world, but only in terms of understanding that it's not really real. It enjoys a dependent existence. Okay? It depends on something that's real. It does not have an independent reality. It enjoys an apparent dependent reality. Therefore, freedom is only found by realizing that which enjoys an independent reality. always ever present, never change, not bound by time, not limited by anything which is superimposed on me, limitless awareness. The world and the self are one, but they exist in separate orders of reality. Mithya and the self, Ishvara and Paramatma, they are one and the same, but they exist in two different orders of reality. So there is no conflict. They coexist. We don't need to destroy or negate one for the sake of the other. This understanding of Sati and Mithya is the most important understanding. That's why we need to bring Mithya into the equation. We need to go into Karma, Dharma, and Mithya teachings. Everybody trying to teach the direct path about here without going here is not going to be very successful, because we need to understand that they belong to two different orders of reality, and then we resolve all the apparent contradictions, and in the process we develop a doubt-free self-knowledge. Otherwise, all these apparent contradictions are going to undermine my self-knowledge, and my self-knowledge will not be doubt-free, meaning to say it's not going to be always good and always present. Om Purnamada Purnamidan Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnavavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Ishvara. Thank you, Rishis, and Vidyaranya, Ramji, and the whole gang. Thank you all. Huh? Oh yes, if we can kindly